I have a really big video for you here in the Mystery Zone. We're going to talk about time, like time itself. Okay? You can call this science, you can call it theories, like theory of relativity. We're going to invoke a little bit of Einstein here. You've always got to throw that in for the spice. I want to be serious though, even though it's something that's way out there. But when I do this type of a video, it shows you that we can grasp the mystery of the universe, and it helps us to become more spiritual, and we can embrace this mysterious experience. I think that's the origin of all science, is just observing something and saying, wow, and then coming up with theories and analyzing it and somehow knowing, establishing laws of physics. But let's talk about time, because it's really beyond physics. What is time? And how can we tackle it? How can we start to tackle it? Well, is time the enemy? Check on him. If he goes in there, he can't have anything on. Thanks a lot, because I don't want to stop this. Time is one of the colossal things. It's not like matter. And it's not even like light. To me, and this is not new, but I really focused on this. Time is motion. The reason why this is being said is that time cannot be detected without motion, physical motion. But in the mind, you might be able to detect the time because your thoughts will flow. If you go from one thought to the next thought, that indicates time flow. Anything that changes is because of time. I mean, to me, that is integral with the whole experience of time, time itself. It has to be. So therefore, this is a primary starting point to where I'm going and how we can unravel this mystery. If all motion is based on time, it's dependent upon time, otherwise it can't happen. I mean, just think hypothetically, if there was no time, everything would be the way it is, it wouldn't move, it would never change. You would just have one thought, and it would just keep resonating. Or not even resonating, it would just be. Time wouldn't be flowing. It would just be one moment and that's it. Hypothetical. I mean, maybe this is something that we can approach. You know, meditation's a part of that. But let's go back to the mechanism of time and why it's about motion. We see in the universe that all the celestial bodies, or these orbs, mostly we see them as spherical or spiraling when they get together. It's like there's a certain shape to them in the three-dimensional form. But what happens is that, and I also want to compare astronomy to chemistry and the elements, because it's really the same movements. There's pinpoints of things, and they move, and they're probably in motion around other things in larger and larger cycles. I mean, I think I just spelled out the whole cosmos. But what does it mean? What can we do with that? If everything's in motion, and that's what's causing time, therefore the opposite of time would be 100% movement opposite of the direction that it's going. So you have to ask several questions before you start to counter effect or cancel out. That's what I'm saying. Cancel out the mechanism or process of time because it's in motion. Okay? That's what it's doing. So you need a lot of information, an enormous amount of data. Maybe it boils down to patterns that we don't recognize yet. But here's how we can figure out what the pattern is. There's two ways. Okay? You need to know every direction of all the major movements. Okay, so we're talking about there's the planet that we're on. I've asked this before. I've gone into this in my astrologer's channel. Which way are we moving? This is key. Directional. Unless you know this directional data, you can't solve time. I'm sure of it. Because you need to create an opposite of that directional movement. But how do you deal with two different movements, 3 and 4, and how many are there? Does it have to do with dimensions? If there was 10 dimensions or 13 dimensions or more, however you look at it, are dimensions always directional? They say no, because in fact time is called a 5th dimension. That doesn't make any sense. So dimensions is actually a very vague sense. It's very clumsy, and I don't think it really tells us sufficiently what's going on in the universe, or the cosmos. So dimensions are a little bit different than direction. Directions are important for motion, and if you can go opposite of every direction, and you factor it in, so that you calculate what's the direction you need to move to reverse the pull that these directions have on you. I am doing a video. Did any of the viewers notice that I was doing a video? Because somebody here doesn't notice that. Let's get to part 2. I have to take care of something after 7.5 minutes. Part 2 is going to be really good about time.